To Serve with Love is an autobiographical novel written by E.R. Braithwaite. Braithwaite was a Guyanese born British American novelist, writer, teacher, and diplomat, best known for his stories of social conditions and racial discrimination against black people. His writings mainly deal with the difficulties of being an educated black man, a black social worker, a black teacher, and simply a human being who found himself in a set of inhuman circumstances. The main character, E.R. Braithwaite, works as an engineer in an oil refinery. He served in the Royal British Air Force in the World War II. After the war, he was unable to find job because he is black. Braithwaite realizes that merely belonging to British colony did not guarantee equal status in the British society. Braithwaite's extensive experience and education was of no use in job interviews because society views him as the black British citizen in a British colony. This heightens Braithwaite's sense of betrayal, that is, not being loyal for the British. At a last resort, he applied in a school to become a teacher. Surprisingly, he is accepted at Greenslade School in London's East End and is set to teach the senior classes of the school. The school is full of unruly students who were rejected from other schools for their behavior. He considers his students disrespectful, ill mannered, and mischievous. The students harass him from day one, slamming their desks during his lecture, using foul language, and bullying him to a great extent. Even the girl students do not spare a moment to harass him. In a reaction to that, Braithwaite verbally scolds the girls for acting in an unladylike manner and being unruly in the class. While his students consider him to be an arrogant outsider, unfamiliar with the social environment in which they have grown up. When he understands that his scolding has not gained him any respect and cooperation from the students, he changes his teaching and decides to try a new method of dealing with them. His students were seniors. He decided to interact with them as adults and respectable persons. He states them that since they are grown up, they should maintain hygiene and their attitudes towards one another as soon as they are going to deal with real world. He states that every girl must be referred to as Miss, boys must be addressed by their surnames, and that his students call him Sir. At first, the students find this level of respect and politeness ridiculous and unnecessary. But after a few weeks, they came around and changed their attitudes towards one another. Thus, Braithwaite is successful in handling the students without anger or argument. To increase their knowledge of different cultures, He takes them on field trips and excursions to museums and is surprised to learn that many of students were visiting these for the first time. A white female teacher, Gillian Blanchard, joined the class on these trips. This marks the beginning of a friendship between Gillian and Braithwaite. Although his students frequently disappoint and hurt him, he learns to forgive them. His students, in turn, constantly surprise him with their maturity, ability to understand emotions, and knowledge. The half yearly report of Students' Council is scheduled to take place on 15th November in the auditorium of Green Slade School, which began after Easter. Braithwaite was excited to observe this event as this event has been entirely arranged and organized by the students. He observes his students as they prepare their report and is proud to see them work together in an orderly fashion and share responsibility for the task. On the day of the event, each class would turns to report through their chosen representatives on what they had studied during the half year. At 10 a.m., the students and the teachers begin to gather in auditorium. Braithwaite students, Miss Joseph and Denham, being seniors, are in charge of carrying out the program. The report begins with a speech by Mr. Florian. He delivers a lengthy speech. He spoke about the aims and policies of the school and the contribution of each child in the fulfillment of these aims. He praises students for their achievements but reminds them that there is great deal of work for further improvement. Braithwaite listens and realizes that Mr. Florian is deeply committed and cares about progress of students. Then Miss Joseph gives a short explanation of the council's purpose and its activities. The reports begin with the lowest or the youngest class first. These were mainly 12 years old who had joined the school previous summer. They are mostly shy and frightened to stand up before the entire school. Their presentations are short as they find difficulties in seeking information for themselves. However, they present their reports honorably. Class after class, turn by turn, were represented. Braithwaite marked that with increase in class, that is from lower to higher, there is increase in students' ability to express themselves. The report focuses on what the students have understood and not on what they were expected to learn. Mr. Braithwaite's class, being the oldest, is the last to present their report. He felt terribly pleased and proud to see the way Denham calls out the names of the representatives along with the subjects on which they would report. Potter, arithmetic, Sapiano, nature study, Miss Pegg and Jackson, geography, Miss Dare and Furman, physiology, Miss Todd, history, Denham, PT and games, Miss Joseph, domestic science. While calling out the names of the senior girls, Denham addressed them as Miss, as a sign of respect. Braithwaite felt that this would be good example for the younger children. Miss Joseph then gave a short formal speech. She states that they learn about interdependence of mankind through each subject in spite of geographical location and differences in color, races, and creeds. Then she called on Potter. Potter talks about arithmetic. He tells about learning of weights and measurement. They learn two systems of measurement and the relationship between the kilogram and the pound. The meter and the foot is used in every country in the world. Sepiano explains their studies of pests and how they cause damage to the important crops, especially black rot on wheat, ball weevil on cotton, and the Colorado beetle on potatoes. He then shows how shared knowledge between countries is beginning to reduce the threat of harmful insects and bugs. Miss Pegg and Jackson divide the report of geography between them. Jackson spoke on distribution of mineral deposits and vegetable produce among different countries. He notes that countries interdepend upon each other as one country has plenty of one product and scarcity of other product, which results in give and take among countries. Miss Pegg dealt with human relationships. She mentioned the problems facing the post war world, that is, after war, problem for feeding, clothing, and housing its population. She also referred to thousands of refugees and the efforts of the programs of UNICEF, that is, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Miss Dare and Furman spoke on physiology. With the help of Welch and Ellison, Furman hanged a model of human skeleton. School showed a gesture of comic by laughing, but quickly Furman spoke in serious and clear tone and argues that though it was a female skeleton, but nobody can guess whether she had been Chinese or French or German or Greek, nor they could guess if she had been brown or white or a mixture of both, and thus reaches the important conclusion that all people are basically the same. Furman presentation was dramatic and wonderful. Miss Dare spoke about the advantages gained by exchange of knowledge, advice, and assistance to solve the problems faced by humans in terms of sickness and disease. Miss Dodd reports on history during Reformation in England. She told about the struggles of men for independence, their tolerance for the belief and cultures of others. Denham's report on PT and games was a bit of a shock. He criticized PT as a subject in routine class as it serves no purpose. He points lack of space for games, which results in difficulty in carrying out its activities. The boys support Denham's complaints by cheering him loudly. Next, it is time for answering students' questions. Denham called two children from audience to select teachers for the panel. Mr. Weston, Mrs. Dale Evans, and Miss Phillips are chosen at random. Mr. Weston looks untidy between the two women. The questions were mostly from higher classes because the young children were too shy or too uninformed to form meaningful questions. The teachers were not prepared for the questions and turned out to be confused and stammer in answering. Braithwaite was surprised The small, silly looking Miss Phillips proved to be the coolest and best informed of the three. She answers the questions with honesty and confidence and even helps out the other teachers to save them from embarrassment. Mr. Weston is shabbily dressed and looks ridiculous when he is unable to answer to Denham's questions about the need of the PT. Instead, he begins to answer loudly and displeased, insulted way without making any valid answer. Denham was a trained boxer. He remarks that PT exercise helps only if performed daily and for longer periods, whereas they have PT class only twice a week and thus offers no health benefit, making it a waste of time. Once again, Miss Phillips outwitted Denham in a cool and pleasant manner. She tells Denham that every subject, including PT and games, in timetable are important and carefully considered for the benefits of students. Regarding Denham's statement of lack of space in school for games, she reminds Denham that school has limited resources and therefore has to make best use of its time in a way that benefits the large number of students. Though the students like Denham are physically fit and play other sports, the class is not just meant for them but for all the students. So even if Denham's fine PT exercise waste of time, the others who are not physically fit could benefit from it. In response to this, Denham argues that the PT should be only for those students who need it. But Miss Phillips replies smartly that the whole timetable in the school was meant to help the students in the world after they left school. And it is part of the training, doing what one was told in spite of not liking it, because it is an exercise of the mind as much as of the body. Denham finally gives up on the matter. Braithwaite is impressed with the skill and wit of Miss Phillips. He never thought that this frilly, innocent looking puss had gobbled her canary without leaving the tiniest feather. Soon after this, as the morning ended, the headmaster Florian went on the stage and closed the proceedings by expressing his pride in all the children and deeply appreciated their efforts. To Serve with Love is real story of E.R. Braithwaite. It is story of teacher-student relationship. It shows how the teacher changed the psychology of students with creative ideas and innovative techniques.